today's episode of Street Notes, I learned that while I always talk about how important it is to find interesting things and gestures and colours or shapes, it's still very important to arrange it properly within the frame, because the picture still needs to read well, otherwise it's not going to hold anybody's attention and it's just going to look a little bit too much like a snapshot. And during this early part of the day, I'm just shooting as much as I can, trying to find shapes and people and gestures and arrange them in the frame in a way that seems interesting. But a lot of it's not working out, but there's a lot going on, so I can take a lot of warm-up shots and kind of work my way into kind of a rhythm, I guess, and hopefully find some better stuff. See, here is one of the first shots that I got that I liked. These people started to march off somewhere, and I was using this flag as sort of a block for the frame. This first one not so much, but as they moved on, the flag moved out the way and there's two people in the background who I think were dressed sort of interestingly. They have bright colours on, so they contrast with the rest of the frame, and the umbrella and the flag kind of frame them nicely as well. And although it's raining and it's a little bit bland with the light, I still kind of like this one for the colours and the shapes. It was quite chaotic at this point. There was a march had kind of formed before moving off down the street. So there was a lot going on around, and I was finding it difficult to sort of focus on one action or area. And things quietened down a little bit after a while, and I saw these balloons, tried to photograph them, but she saw me and posed for the picture. There's a lot of people dressed up as like mascot type things. I'm not sure what the significance of them were, but they were definitely interesting to photograph. At this point, this march had showed back up. I guess they did a loop somewhere and they came back to where the main event was. Background is a little bit too chaotic here, but I do like the hand holding the flag in the foreground. I just couldn't find a more interesting way to frame it. I think someone posed from a picture there as I moved away, and I did not realise until after, so I feel slightly guilty. I made a quick grab for this person who was pointing down the street somewhere, and this was maybe one of the first photos of the day that I actually liked. I was struggling a little bit up until then, but from here things started to pick up. I could see inside this food truck there was a guy that was prepping the food, and there was a good silhouette because he had the back door open. I thought maybe I can line him up, get a silhouette, and someone interesting like this mascot person would come through and I'd be able to frame them in different corners. And the guy kept moving in and out of his silhouette, so sometimes when interesting people came through I didn't get his silhouette, but this person stopped right there, which was perfect, and waited for a couple seconds, and the guy sort of stepped back and I got the silhouette and I got this person in the corner, and I really like this. I like the graphic shape, the white space that the truck creates, and I think it's kind of cool. And I stood there a bit longer. I didn't think I'd got the shot at that point, but after a while I had to give up because I felt like I was wasting time. As I move through here, this guy does a gesture. I took two shots. I think there's too much of this guy in the front of the frame. If I had managed to frame it with that little girl who was, I'm not sure what she was doing exactly, but she was reaching through the fence and grabbing onto the lady or grabbing onto something or handing or something. This one was a near miss, unfortunately. People start pointing, so I'll always take pictures of people pointing somewhere. And this turned out okay. I got another one that was closer, but I might actually like the first one better, can't fully decide. This person with a flag inside his hat and phone up to his ear or face or whatever, I'm not sure what he's doing, and someone else pops into the frame. It's okay, I didn't quite get what I was imagining. I guess the background maybe is a little bit too busy. Here I was waiting on ice cream eating gestures. Didn't work out though, unfortunately. Turned away a little bit too much. There was an anti-Pride protest type thing across the street, and some other people were coming along to stand in front of them to try and block their sign and make noise so that their chants weren't heard. So I sort of weaved in amongst this crowd. Did again try to use the flag to frame the people there. And there I got interesting gestures, kind of. Wasn't too happy with this one though. I think there's too much of people's backs in this picture rather than their faces or gestures. So I moved on through, and this person holding the flag up here and their friend next to them holding the other flag. I love this because you've got the smiles, kind of laughter, the colours and the shape of the flags there, and I think this one's good. This was one of my favourites of the day. The guy was trying to smile for either camera at the same time. He was looking at mine. As I move over here, the person holding the umbrella in the front sort of gestures around, and the guy in the background points angrily at one of the other protesters. And I quite like this picture. It's got good layers, there's some separation between each of the subjects, and the expression on the guy on the left's face is really good. Could I do just like the regular deluxe cheeseburger, please?
Want to make that a combo?
What does that mean? What does the combo mean? Is it just like fries and a drink? Okay. Can you do water as that drink? Yes. Okay, yes, I'll do a combo then, please.
Small or large?
Small.
Wild or natural? Fries.
Yeah. Wild or natural?
Yeah. So natural's like Chick-fil-A's waffle fries, and
okay.
Wild is like straight cut curly fries.
The Chick-fil-A style one, please. So it felt a bit dumb after that, but was not a terrible burger, to be honest with you. Started to rain pretty heavily, so we took shelter under this shop front for a while. And as I move the camera, you'll see across the street there's a good rainbow sort of mural thing. I got a great picture there later on. Don't have it on video though, so my bad. Notice this graffiti on the wall here, and these people running through, covering themselves from the rain. It was absolutely pouring at this point, and this shot didn't work out. I wish I'd been a little bit closer or something, but you know, I wasn't really in a place where I could think or compose properly. After that rain stopped, there was a lot of people jumping across these puddles. Hung around here for a bit, just taking various puddle jumping type shots. Some of them came out okay. They're not amazing by any standards, but just kind of fun to photograph, I guess. I think I finally figured out how to make video look a bit better on this camera. I couldn't even get the exposure to stay like normal before. So as you can tell, I'm not a filmmaker. Is this too quiet now? So hopefully now there's no weird exposure shifts, which I've been dealing with recently, even though I had the camera in manual exposure. I've also got the white balance warmed up a bit. Hopefully that doesn't look too warm. It's just on daylight, but I feel like I look much warmer than I used to, which is probably better because I'm pale skinned anyways. So the lesson in today's video, I feel like I learned this lesson over and over again, as I do with everything else, and I just have to constantly reinforce it because I am an idiot. At some point last year, I think, I learned that gestures were really one of the most important things to me to make images that I'm happy with. However, just having that gesture, while it might kind of make a picture more interesting that would have been terrible otherwise, it still doesn't necessarily make it good. And if elements and things within the frame aren't arranged properly in a way that makes sense to your eye, then it's still not going to be a good picture. So while a busy background is sometimes actually okay if you can arrange it well, it can quickly destroy a picture that may otherwise have been quite interesting. And I noticed that in particular with the guy with the beard that was holding the fan over his head. There was too much sky in there, so the sky was bright and it was distracting. Everything else was kind of in shadow, and there was just stuff all over the background and it didn't make sense. Unfortunately, there were two photos that I got that were not in video, and I think I'm going to save them for print potentially in the future because I like them enough that I think I would put them both in some sort of print thing, whether it's this year's zine or something in the future, I don't know. But I figured since I didn't get them on video, I'll hold those back. And in total, from all those potentially like great photos and gestures and interesting things, I shot hundreds of photos, but only about 8 of them I'm going to print off to mess around and put next to my other pictures and see what ones will make it into my portfolio or books or zines or whatever. And really, I think there's probably 3 or 4 that I actually think might make it. The other ones are just like, this might actually fit, and I don't know, we'll see. Kind of blabbing on a bit now, so probably gonna leave it at that. Alright, so drop me a comment down below, let me know what you thought. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.